Isn't it a beautiful evening? We decorate the church so magnificently, and we have this incredible music and robes and incense, and it makes it all seem so magnificent. But this is a celebration of something. And don't let the beauty make you think that that evening was fancy at all, because it wasn't. I like to tell my congregation that Bethlehem is full of these rolling hills, and there's a lot of wind in Bethlehem, like there is tonight. People dug caves in the sides of the hills where they could keep their livestock. That way they'd be safe from the wind. The baby was born, scholars believe, in a cave like that, amidst the dirt and the animals, on a windy night, to parents who were alone and who had nowhere to live. Why would the maker of the universe, the all-powerful one who created all of us and this higher world, why would that maker of everything decide to be born in such a humble, irrelevant, dangerous place? Why would God choose to be born so small? Why not show us power, magnificence? We have such a broken world. Why not come and show us what goodness can do? Why not win out over evil? Why did God choose to be so helpless, so small, so insignificant? A newborn baby? Is there anything more hopeless, helpless in this world than a newborn baby? Auburn was 26 years old, and she found herself lying on her living room floor, curled up in a fetal position, folding and unfolding a piece of paper. Auburn had grown up in a wealthy, well-to-do family and had had the best of education, gone to a good college. And after college, she met this man who was 40 and she was 24, and he was so handsome and so exciting, and he knew everything about everything, and he was a poet, and he said, "To hell with the world," and she married him, and they had a little baby boy, and he introduced her to drugs. They got so addicted they would drive around at night searching for drugs with their little baby strapped in a car seat, surrounded by candy wrappers, because they were trying to keep him quiet so they could get high again. Auburn started having panic attacks. Late one night, she found herself lying on her living room floor, and her little boy, still strapped in his car seat, was on the floor next to her asleep. And she was folding and unfolding this piece of paper. She hadn't talked to her mother in 3 years, but her mother had sent her a card and said, "Here's the number of a Christian counselor. Please call." Auburn was so afraid and so desperate, she decided to punch in the numbers. a man's voice picked up, "Hello? This is Auburn. My mother told me to call you. I think I'm in trouble. Can you talk to me?" She heard a rustling sound like the sheets of a bed were getting organized, and he said, "Yes, I can talk to you. Just one moment." There was a dim radio in the background, and she heard it turn off. "Yes, Auburn, here I am. What's going on?" For the first time in years, Auburn started to tell the truth that even she hadn't really acknowledged. "I really love my husband, and I don't mean to say anything bad about him, but sometimes he pushes me and the baby out in the cold, and since we live in Michigan, it kind of scares me. One time he locked the door. But I love him, and I know he loves me, and he's a good man, but I have to tell you that one time when we were driving, we were going pretty fast, and he pushed me out of the car. And I've gotten addicted to drugs, and my son's face is all covered with chocolate," and she started going on and on. On the other end of the phone, the man calmly just kept listening and asking questions, and then sometimes he'd say, "Oh, that must have hurt. I'm so sorry." She talked to him all night. As the sun was rising, Auburn began to feel more calm, like she might survive and she could face the day. And she said, "Thank you so much for listening to me. I don't know who you are, but aren't you supposed to give me some Bible verses to memorize? I'll memorize them, I really will. Not that I have a Bible, but I'll find one. I need to thank you." He said, "It's okay. Just tell me more." She kept talking, but then she brought it around again and said, "You know, you're the best counselor I've ever had, and I just want to thank you." And he said, "Auburn, I want to ask you not to hang up on me right now." She said, "Why would I hang up on you?" And he said, "Well, just listen for a moment. That number that you dialed?" She said, "Yeah." He said, "Wrong number." They stayed on the phone a little longer, and she never did find out his name. But she got off the phone that morning, and she found that she could live through the day, and she didn't do everything he advised. She kept messing up and took drugs a while longer, but it was like there was this light that was lit inside of her, because that night she realized that there was this unconditional love out there somewhere, and some of it was meant for her. And gradually, the light that she experienced that night, that little pinprick of light, of love, of a stranger, it grew until she had the courage to leave her husband, and last spring, her son graduated with honors from Princeton. She raised him as a single mom. Why did God choose to be born in this helpless way? To be born so small and insignificant? Because I think God wanted us to understand that there is no huge battle between light and darkness. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness cannot overcome it. Even one little pinprick of light can make all the difference in the world. God didn't need to come with all guns blazing as some superhero. All we needed was just a little light in order to begin to see again. And as you go back into the world on this dark night, into a world where there is so much violence and so much hatred and so much fear and anxiety, where this country is being torn apart and we can't get along, where people are starving and our planet is suffering. And I know at times you think that the darkness is overwhelming, but I tell you, all you need to do is bring just a hint of light into the world. Smile at someone you don't know. Pay for the toll for the car just behind you. Listen to someone who needs to talk. All it takes is just a little bit of unconditional love. All it takes is a little baby born in the dirt. All it takes is just a little bit of hope. That pinprick of light, it shines in the darkness, and the darkness will not and cannot ever overcome it. Merry Christmas.